All right, I show 7 p.m. Call this recess meeting of the special meeting of the Board of Aldermen to order. Roll call, please.
Alderman Borman.
Yes.
Alderman Lee.
Here.
Alderman Magley.
Here.
Alderman Volra. Here. Alderman Ward.
Here.
Alderman Wilkins.
Present.
All right, we have a quorum this evening. Official business can't take place. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Write down business here. Appointment of the new police officer, effective date of appointment. On the chief's recommendation, I'd like to appoint Jerry Stobie to the position of part-time police officer, City of Centralia.
We know what the pay rate is, Jerry, or Matt, do you have any idea what you're making now?
No.
Heather?
1305 to start.
Congratulations.
It's a great G-step participation.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the appointment of Jerry Stobie to the position of part-time police officer in Centralia, Missouri. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, welcome.
If
Go ahead,
we'll let Heather do her thing and then we'll
whatever.
tell you a little bit about it. So,
Yeah.
come here.
We should give a focus.
We should do the actual papers.
You generally give me a copy of that, not original.
Can you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Jerry Stobie III, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri. Support the Constitution of the United States
Support the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri
The Constitution of the State of Missouri.
and the ordinances of the City of Centralia,
And the ordinances of the City of Centralia.
and that I will faithfully demean myself
And I will faithfully demean myself
in the office of part-time police officer
in the office of part-time police officer
of said city to the best of my ability,
of said city to the best of my ability,
according to law, so help me God.
according to the law. So help me God.
Thank you all very much. Now, Matt, tell the mayor and the council a little bit about who you are and your folks, where you're from, blah, 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 and what you did prior to getting here.
All
Run the
right.
Ferris wheel for.
All right. This will be, going into next year will be my 6th year in law enforcement. I graduated from LATC, which is in Moberly, MACC. I started off with Monroe County Sheriff's Department, worked there for a little while, and then transferred to Glasgow Police Department. And I worked there for a year and a half. So that's where I kind of got to learn about how to work in the city and in the community with people. And then from there, I went to Howard County Sheriff's Department and worked there and became a corporal. Been involved in several things in my law enforcement career. I've had to fight for my life twice. I have located several drug labs, different types of drugs. Worked with FBI, ATF, and DEA on certain cases. So I got a pretty good background. I've kind of been around the block and seen quite a bit, and done a little bit. And I have 3 children. I'm getting married next year and building a new house. And so I'm kind of looking for a place just to settle down and retire out in the law enforcement career. So I plan on sticking around for a while.
Jeremy got married 10 times before children.
Yeah. Yeah. I was married once. I was married once.
Anybody have any questions for him? He's going to work tonight. Living with Inspector Harris.
How do you spell your last name again?
STO, E as in Edward, B as in boy, E as in Edward.
Is that the phonetic alphabet now?
So if we don't pass this ordinance, does that mean he works for free?
I don't think we're gonna pass or it's the only thing we're gonna talk about. We're replacing, Michael Fowler over there in the yellow shirt. He's decided to take different strokes. So he's decided to take full-time employment, Mexico Public Safety. He and his little wife. He served us well, showed up for work most of the time when he was supposed to. So he served us well, and we wish him well as he goes on. He and his young bride have one on the way, and still looking for a home here in Centralia. So we're glad we have had him, and I'm happy for his success. So unless there's anything else.
Welcome
Nope.
aboard.
Welcome
Thank you.
aboard. Mr. Tidy up here. So, Merrick says we need to pass this ordinance for salaries.
What you want to do, I think you can put him on the test. He's already signed up on his email.
Okay.
Okay.
And if we find out later on that we didn't need to do that,
I was gonna suggest that we can ask around if any other fourth-class cities are doing it this way, and I don't think many are, but
yeah.
it'd be good to get that cleared up so we don't ever have to hold off of a hire because, we're trying to.
So, do we want to wait?
Well, we still have to do the appointment at a regular board meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd say we wait and see if we actually need to do it.
Yeah,
I mean, we can always do it at the next board meeting, can't we?
and make it retroactive if necessary.
Of course, council can do what they, I can't tell you what to do, obviously, but, when the counselor says we should do it this way, and even in Merritt's own words, he's being extremely careful. The state law says fourth-class cities are supposed to adopt by ordinance changes to pay for employees.
But we aren't changing the pay, we're giving him.
Is he,
I
are you
guess-
changing
I
it
guess
from
the
0 to
change-
something, or?
Zero to, yeah.
So,
Matt, if I may, we have not changed, to my knowledge, we have not changed the pay, Heather, we've not changed the pay of a part-time officer in quite some time, well, probably ever, have we?
Whenever we adopted the new pay scale in April, even for part-time officers, it increased because it just increased across the board.
But we already did the ordinance.
But we've already done the ordinance, and it said T1 of the adopted pay scale.
That's what he's being hired for.
Yes.
and every year, when you adopt the pay scale, you do that by ordinance, so
Right.
but that's across the board.
And that's already been done.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But like I said, I don't remember doing this before, and I'm not
We've
sure we
never
want
done
to
it.
get him to have him doing it, but we
We've
don't
never
get
done
to.
If we were hiring a full-time guy, then yes, we always do it by ordinance, right?
No,
No,
Because it's still at G1
They
of the
still
adopted
start
pay
Oh,
out
okay,
scale.
there you go, yes, you're right.
Entry
We
level.
quit doing that too, okay. So,
yeah, I don't ever remember doing one of these before.
I'll get married.
If you guys don't pass it, it's not gonna cause, I don't think we're gonna have any problem.
I'd see
I
if we
just
need to
assume
do
we-
it before we, maybe we can always do it next Monday.
Maybe we
Yeah.
can check on some.
If we're doing something that we need at that time before, then we'll pass it next month.
Maybe check on some other fourth-class cities.
We just have to do a recess meeting, just in case then.
We can,
You can-
we can do a recess meeting.
Another one, bridge on my meeting.
Well, you might as well, you're qualified.
All right,
So we're not gonna introduce the ordinance, or no one's gonna make a motion to.
all right, authorizing Boone County National Bank agreement for merchant bank customer debit cards and credit card payment services. This is ordinance requires 2 readings. Any further discussions? Any questions for Heather?
Just a little background on this, there was an ordinance in place in 2007, 2008, that authorized Kathy Colvin and Lynn Behrens to have credit cards for the city. There are many instances where a lot of companies don't take purchase orders, you need to purchase them with a credit So, at this time, we do not have any active credit cards with the city. We never renewed Kathy's whenever she left. Jim Enlow also had one. We never renewed it whenever he left. So the park department is also ordering a lot of things where they need to use the credit card as well. So, we just went ahead and asked for all three at the same time.
Parks Director, who? Is that the Parks Director will have one?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Bennett will have one.
I've got somebody's room for a conference, not my own, that's on my card right now, so yeah, I'm anxious to see us get this done. And I think we do have to pass an ordinance on this.
I knew there was ulterior motives.
Ulterior motives, yes, exactly. Bill number, please.
2720.
Make a motion that bill number 2720 be given its first reading by title only.
I have a motion and a second to bill number 2720 be given its first reading by title only. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Continue, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk of the city of Centralia, Missouri to execute a certification and resolutions of public entity instrument to obtain bank card products and services from the Bank Card Center of Boone County National Bank. I move that bill number 2720 be given its second read by title only.
Second. I have a motion and a second that bill number 2720 be given its second reading by title only. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Continue, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk of the city of Centralia, Missouri to execute a certification and resolutions of public entity instrument to obtain bank card products and services from the Bank Card Center of Boone County National Bank. I move that bill number 2720 be adopted by roll call vote.
I have a motion and a second that bill number 2720 be adopted by a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call vote, please, Connie.
Alderman Lee,
Yes.
Alderman Magley,
Yes.
Alderman Walrath,
Yes.
Alderman Ward,
Yes.
Alderman Wilkins,
Four.
Alderman Borman.
All right, by your vote, bill number 2720 passes and now becomes ordinance number
2782.
Thank you very much. Any items may rise? Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
After your public works meeting, Ben, you're here, and Mr. Wilbur. I'll be over to solve that.
Do we need to take a break after that lengthy discussion?
I don't know if you take a break
Long enough for me to log in, that'd be about 2 minutes. I'm gonna try and take notes in the computer and see if that helps.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Larry.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna be over to put on the blocking on the dispatch tonight too, so.
I have time at my house.
A little of it, a little of it.
We can do some work.
I've been using that little one, and no one's starting to quit.
Good. Good habits.
There's nothing against you.
I'm just fortunate to have a guy like you that knows.
Just talk to Bob about how we're gonna do it.
No way, I know how to do this unplugged.
That's one way. That's a way.
Hey, it may not be people,
We're actually gonna use other parental controls. Not for how parents control their kids.
Thank you, kids, for operating.
Out the battlefield. Out the battlefield. Yeah, I'd ride with you, because I want to look at something too. What time is that for him? Force to. Perfect. Let's run out
10:30.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're going north side. Let's take the private view.
There's not 9. Hot bottle, hanging. 6 pistons.
Like this trip already. Call him in like, and the guy comes out. Barn five pole purchase of.
That's the way it is.
We should remove
Is
roll call.
that monthly or yearly? It's yours and you got big.
Well, if you get my truck and drive off, and I'll tell you.
He did that 45 thing, I thought, oh.
Well, we don't, I mean, we assume it takes a few minutes.
I mean, it's kind of obvious
I'm not like hiding underneath.
All right, it's 7:16, we will start the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee meeting. We won't do roll call. Comments from citizens. Seeing none, we will close that portion of the section unless somebody here has. Okay. First up, electric department. We have an activity report in our packet. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I was out running this morning and I noticed a couple lights out. Sims and Allen. And what is it? Bruton and Allen. They're just kind of going out and then a few seconds later, a minute later, so they come back on.
Cycling?
Yeah.
There's one at Remington too. Second one in.
Is that at the, at Bruton and Allen? Is that,
It's the one on the northwest corner.
Northwest?
Yeah.
There's a couple of there at the jog there.
Yeah.
All right.
If there's nothing else, we'll move on to BHMG Engineers quote on planning for electric mower.
This is something we've been talking about for a while. Getting a plan to bring some circuits out of Wilson Street substation. We need to get more circuits coming out of there. We're not utilizing the whole thing right now. But obviously, whenever you leave that site, you gotta get to the railroad tracks. So then you've gotta get across them. So what this would be is doing some design and facilitating all the permitting and hiring a contractor to bore. At this point, we think we would be best to go underground, go under the railroad tracks. The idea would be to at least bore and get in the casing pipe and possibly the conduit. And then we may or may not, depending on funds, immediately build the circuit. But hopefully we would be basically outside the railroad right-of-way with the end of the conduit. And then subsequently, whatever pace we wanted to move, pull the wire and utilize those extra circuits that we have.
Okay, so you are looking at doing this with an outside contractor, is that it?
Yeah, yes, well, mainly the boring, you know.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. So then once the boring was done, and possibly have them maybe even pull in the conduit through the sleeve, and then once that point, like any other work after that, I think we would do ourselves.
How big a hole are you looking at?
I think she's already found out, the engineer, that looks like so far that's kind of what we're running into is, I think a 6-inch casing pipe is max.
Okay.
So then about a 4-inch conduit is about as big as you can go through that. So
Yeah.
it would take, I've got kind of 3 locations in mind
Mhm.
for these crossings. And it would take, it looks like right now, if that's going to be the case, it would take 2 bores at each location.
What do you mean 6 inches max, or is that maximum speed?
No, that's, from what we understand so far, that 6-inch casing pipe is the maximum casing pipe they'll allow.
Oh,
The railroad will allow that?
Yeah.
That's it?
Right.
so
It
they
seems-
would rather you make more bores and,
I guess, yeah.
Wow.
So, and it doesn't make sense to me, so I think, you know, I'm hoping that we kind of, as we
Yeah.
move forward, maybe we'll find out something different.
I don't think so, because
And-
I can't imagine that, because water lines are gonna be,
Right, I mean, you come up to, you know, you gotta put a 12-inch water main or bigger or something like that, and plus a pitching pipe, it just, and maybe that's electric, that they limit it because it's electric
Yeah.
casing or something, I don't know, so.
Right.
That's just kind of some of the preliminary work we
Okay.
found, so. Yeah, I'm hoping that we, huh? Well, it will be Kansas City Southern on one track and then Norfolk Southern, because it'll actually be,
Going north and south.
yeah, both tracks, both sets.
okay. So do we,
And so you've got a bid there to enter into contract with, or a memorandum of agreement.
we have a proposal here.
Yeah. From BHMG, who has been pretty much our exclusive electrical engineer for about 25 years now.
Okay. So I hear a motion to accept the memorandum of agreement.
So moved.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
We'd say this is budgeted. In fact, I think if I understand the notes correctly, we got $20,000 total budgeted for this project. $13,000 is what the bid for this part of the project is.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, any other under electric?
I had a resident come to me, concerned about there not being any street lights on the last part of Columbia Street, like by the intermediate school.
Okay, like from Countryland
Mm-hmm.
back to Lakeview,
There's none from,
or from Lakeview
Lakeview.
all the
yeah,
way
from Lakeview to the very end, there's no lights.
to Gano Chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's one at the intersection of Countryland. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's
Yeah.
right, if it's right on the intersection.
It's further back, I think.
The, we can put streetlights, I mean, that would be, your guys' pretty much your decision
Yeah.
to, direct me what you'd like to see there. Most of the time, what we try to do is, like if there's any changes in direction, or about every 300 feet, if it's a straight line.
Mhm.
And obviously, we have done much closer than that
Yeah.
at schools and things like that. I mean, for example, Jefferson and Lakeview and
She was
and
just
Jefferson
worried
Street.
because you
So,
can't see kids
right,
going
yeah, I
home,
can
you can't
understand
see.
that. Yeah,
They're going
yeah.
home from a dance or something.
right, I understand that, and I'm definitely not opposed to
Okay.
putting them there. I don't,
Some
Yeah,
LEDs, maybe?
pardon,
Maybe a good place to put some LEDs.
but that's possible.
Over there, you start by lightning there, wide open.
It is pretty wide open out there.
If could you give us a projection of where the lightning strikes are going to be?
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If we put money in it, yeah, it gets struck by lightning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I could,
For sure that.
I mean,
Direct correlation.
want me to kind of come up with maybe a recommendation of where maybe they would
I think,
be and bring that back to you, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay,
I don't care.
or put them up? I mean, just kind of try to figure out what looks about right and go for it,
I
or,
mean, just any light there, I think would be a big improvement, really.
yeah.
I mean,
Stuff like that, see anyway, so what you need lights for.
Nice.
in the wintertime, it'd be kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
Down that road.
Yeah.
You don't live in that ward, right?
Yeah.
Come on now.
I did get the recording to work this time. So would you want them to bring out back one project, or would you like the 300 feet and then the higher standard that we use sometimes by schools? Give you guys a choice, or?
Because you do have a pole line there that we can hang them on, I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, the poles are about 300 feet apart.
well, we don't run those They're about 150 to 200
Oh, they're
on ours.
150, 200?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like every other, isn't it, more or less, or every
We could start there. I mean, that would probably be what I would suggest, is somewhere in that, and
See what that looks like.
maybe that would just be to Countryland Drive.
two? Yeah.
And since that's kind of where most of the kids probably walking that
Right,
way would
right.
be going to Southwest Country
Makes
Subdivision.
me happy, like
Right.
that's where I need to be.
Right.
I think that'll be good.
Yeah, so, okay,
They're really
Just-
full, start out with.
all right.
That way you don't have to, keep coming back and forth and all that stuff, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are the LEDs brighter?
Not really.
Depends
No,
how much lighter you use.
it's, well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
They're a wider
it's white, compared to the high pressure sodium, or definitely that orangish color. To me, for the most part, you can't see anything better or worse. It brings out, makes it maybe, high definition would be the right words to use there, but maybe along the lines of television. But,
He has a few of them over on Collier.
Yeah, I've seen that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the colors are what you can definitely make out better. And I think just the white light has always, just in people's minds,
Yeah.
they think they can see better,
What would you recommend putting there?
that light. I'd probably recommend on cost, the high pressure sodium, just because the cost of right now, the cost of the LED is so much higher.
And it's not a high traffic area either, is it?
Not yet. Been to-
But I think the advantage of the LED is you get more, for the same amount of to get the same amount of light, the same amount of lumens, you use about half as much energy. But the cost of the light makes the return on investment almost the lifespan of the light is what we found. So
Yeah.
what you've seen
4 or
so
5 times. I mean, just like, for example, those ones on
Color.
Collier Street there, I would expect to see, at least 5 years before there's payback there. And, and if the things last like they're claiming they will last, then that'd be great, because you should get 10, maybe even 15, 20 years and never have to touch the thing, in a lot of cases. Those particular ones just have a 5-year warranty, so they run out of warranty by the time they pay themselves off. So that's why it's kind of, I think it's a good experiment to try, but I'm a little leery about getting too many of them out there, trying them out at this point. To me, it's still kind of an experiment for us.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
So
Mhm.
that's why I'd kind of
So-
recommend the high pressure sodium still at this point. Probably, I think in that area for what we're trying to do, probably 150 watt high pressure sodium. Because it's probably, I don't know, it's gonna be maybe 3 or 4.
would there be a better place to try an experiment like that maybe at some point, or?
Yes and no. I mean, that's actually probably is a pretty good place. Highway 22 is, the highway lighting is where probably the most savings. You're talking all the highway lights are around 250 watts each, and most of those are getting replaced with, I believe it's about an 80 or 90 watt LED fixture. And so you're getting farther apart in those wattages there, and so then you're bringing your payback period,
Yeah.
down. So,
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Next up, Water and Sewer Department. We have an activity report in our packet. If anybody have any questions or comments?
What was the recall on the dump truck?
Oh, that was mine. That was let's see here, I had several recalls this month. I think that was just programming on the computer. I think that's all that one was.
I have a temporary glitch here. My computer went off. So anybody have any comments on anything with the water department? We can discuss the water issues then. Are there any water issues?
Sewer, they're gonna come tomorrow and start on that manhole on Head Street and Harrisburg. They should be here about 8:30 or 9. It'll be a couple days getting that set up and finished. We're gonna line the inside of that manhole and try to keep that hydrogen sulfide from causing any more problems with it. So they'll be here tomorrow on that.
Okay.
You may have seen the 12-inch insert valve. They came and they brought the wrong saddle for the valve. So we couldn't even clamp it on to the main, get it to fit, so we had to cover that back up, and we're gonna have to get a different saddle and try again, so we're still on hold on that.
Okay.
Is that something that, they'll pay pay the
We're not
construction
paying,
costs or something like that?
I talked to the guy from HD today, and we're not gonna have to pay anything on that.
Okay.
Because I called him and gave him the dimensions on it, and somewhere in translation from him to them, it got to be a smaller size, so he said they would take care of that.
All right, great, thanks.
All right. So that's the water and the sewer that we have discussed. Is there any other underwater department, water and sewer department? Hearing none, we will move on to the public works. And again, there's an activity report. Anybody have any questions or comments? Streets, sidewalk repair and construction progress.
All the sidewalk out by the CS school has all been completed. Is that all been?
Okay.
I did have, we had a contractor who was working on Booth Street, where at the intersection of Walnut on the southwest corner, and the sidewalk was in disrepair. He was in the midst of his grading for the house he's building there. He requested to remove it, and I talked to Phil about it, and I said, yeah, I told him that'd probably be okay, and then realized that I really need to get your guys' approval to do that by ordinance. So there is sidewalks on the north side that continues both ways. On the south side, it goes one more section and then stops in both directions. So, new kid on the block should have probably got your guys' permission before I asked him to, said that was all right, but, I think that we should probably officially, I think we need to do that by ordinance, so we need to, get somebody to, ask that we prepare an ordinance to allow that to be removed. Unless you guys do not want it removed, then we're gonna have to put it back.
Are they still looking at doing the improvements later on Booth Street? I know at one time when we were talking, that was one of the next projects to come.
It is curb and gutter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, that was the other thing Matt and I talked about. If we do this street, it's all coming back out.
Yeah.
And it probably will not be put on the south side.
Actually, I know before Lynn left, he said everything was moving to the north on the street.
And that was part of it, the discussion I had with Lynn. In his, his vision was that that is an important sidewalk, that we could probably get one side done, and like I said, the north side's the one, that's also the side of the park, the swimming pool, et cetera. So, it's, I don't have any problem with what's done, but, and he was in the midst of his process, but probably should have told him I can't do that before we go through this process. He needed to take it out anyway. It was in bad, but how he graded and the rest of the project would have been different depending on what the decision of the council was. But yeah, I think my understanding is that was the kind of the plan. I don't know if it was the council adopted plan, but it was.
We haven't adopted the plan on it.
Yeah.
But we did do engineering plans, for that at one point.
And as we go through the long-threatened comprehensive planning process, we can come up with theoretically with a sidewalk plan as well. But
I'm okay with
this
taking it out.
okay. Well, this is not a case. This is a case of ignorance, not trying to.
In fairness to Matt, he did discuss it with me.
The sidewalk was actually in the wrong location. It was actually on their property instead of on the city right away, so it would have been completely moved over, which,
Right.
so.
Yes.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Sidewalk cooperation policy.
Well, should we do we need a motion to prepare that ordinance? Or do you guys just do it? Is that just an action?
I don't think we've done an ordinance on it, that's what we just,
Oh, okay.
just the direction of the council.
Okay, okay,
And it's noted in the minutes.
okay. All right.
There was no dissent from that.
Okay.
Sounds good now.
So that's on Walnut side, not,
Maple.
I'm sorry.
it's on Maple,
Maple,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Maple side?
Yeah, it's right there where, Ben Randolph was building
Yeah.
those two houses in that corner. And actually, that sidewalk ran up to Gordon's house and stopped right there, I think on that block. And it's skipped down and there's a little bit on the next block and go the other way, there's a little bit. And it's, the north side's pretty continuous, that side is just kind of.
And Northside has some problems with it too.
Yeah.
It's not as bad.
Yeah. But I think that's a good idea to move forward with making that a priority. But okay.
All it takes is money.
It's okay.
Okay. So the cooperation policy, are we going to discuss it?
We have been doing several projects for a while where we make an agreement with the property owner. Typically, we'll if they find a contractor, build it to our specifications, we will reimburse them for the cost of the concrete. Lynn, myself, and all the clerk staff have looked extensively for an actual written policy, and we have not found one.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put into words, I wanted to let you know that I would like to put that in words and bring it back and talk about it. Yes, actually get it in written language.
All right, I know we've done it for a long time.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, we looked, we can't, we haven't been able to find anything on it.
Yeah, and Lynn was in today, and he dug through it, and I bet it has been written down at some point, but I'd like to have a, yeah, that's all.
Okay, next, sanitation. Extra pickups for our commercial customers.
We've been, and I've talked to Matt about this, when you brought up that, where our trash volume's up about 20%. We have customers that call and want, need extra pickups and everything, and Lynn's always been pretty good about just go get it, and, if they just do it every now and then, but, with our trash, everything keeps going up and everything, I think, maybe we need to start looking at charging for all extra pickups and everything.
Are these people getting more than one pickup a week anyway?
Some of them, yes, some of them, no. Some of them may just be getting like, one pickup a week and then they call
Pay for
them.
the
Yeah,
second one?
maybe once a month, twice a month, who knows? Some of them are hit, just every now and then, but
Well,
it does start to add up.
I I certainly think that, we shouldn't be picking up every, twice a week if they're paying for once a week.
Yeah, I mean, if they're paying, you know, we pick them up how many times they're paying, but, you know, there are some of them that are continually requesting for extra pickups.
It's one of those things where we do, and I think we do the right thing to try and help somebody out when they have a unusual circumstance, or they've got a problem they've just discovered with somebody coming dumping in their dumpster or something like that. But it's gotten to the point where just I kind of make sure Phil knows he's got the support of everybody to say enough. And so, yeah, I didn't think that'd be any problem, but I wanted before.
I mean, my feeling is that, doing it occasionally is one thing, if it becomes a habit.
Yeah, but the exception of the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, once or twice a year maybe, but if it's once or twice a month, we've got to,
Yes.
we're giving somebody more service than somebody else is paying for.
All right. Next up, recycling trailer update.
We've got our new trailer and got it all set up and in use, so.
Okay.
Let y'all know that, so it's working good.
I saw that in the report. Recycling program review.
We've kind of been talking, I just want to know if the council would like us to, we've got the trailer now, we could continue the way we were going, there's no crisis, but we've been getting about 20 tons a year. In 2012-13, we had slightly less than 20 tons picked up of the, I guess it's the aluminum, glass,
Cans, paper.
paper, okay. And then we've been taking the plastic down to Millersburg for Ryan Enterprises, and then the cardboard we pick up commercial. We've been taking that over to Hubble. There's a couple little things I'd like to look at. The possibility of directly selling some of those bales. The bales should be worth something. I know we've been in a, I think the program was started in the mid-90s. During the mid-90s, there was a collapse of the cardboard market. Like, getting rid of it was just as good as you can do, basically. But at this point, and I don't think we're at the peak of the market right now by any means, but just look at some options, and then I'd like to see us figure out ways to get more participation and maybe make the program a little bit more efficient. Is basically what I'm talking about. But I kind of wanted to see what the interest or the passions of the council were for the recycling. I think it's something to be proud of, the curbside recycling program that's gone on for so long. I actually went out on the route one time, and what I saw picking it up was it was kind of confusing as to what is recycling, what is trash, and we occasionally, not a lot, but we do get people frustrated as to what they can recycle and what they can't. There's only so much we can do in terms of notifying people. We don't have limited resources, but I just kind of want to see if this is look for ways to improve the program. And
We still pay to get rid of our plastic recycling, right?
Yes.
Is it $250 a month or something like that?
Yes.
And there are closer options, but the Ryan Enterprises is, I mean, they're doing great work down there.
Yeah.
But
You just don't make it all right, and you
Yeah.
don't have to sort or
That's the best thing about that. We can recycle every kind of plastic.
yeah,
And most places only want certain
And you have to
varieties.
grade it and everything else.
right.
yeah. So I mean, if is the council, I guess, is the council happy with what we've got now? Don't want to touch it, or would you be open to the idea of looking at some options like talking to Columbia, talking to possibly the Haney Shop, the Sheltered Workshop in Moberly, have different abilities to process. You know, we already work with Civic, just kind of seeing what options are out there.
Yes.
Do we? Are there some champions of recycling out there that you guys can think of? I think I've talked to a couple of you.
Missouri Solid Waste Management.
Okay. I know some people there. So,
Yeah.
okay, so that was basically the point of putting it on the,
Yeah.
so make sure you all were here and I could, so that was,
Okay. All right. Next up, storm sewer.
Not much report there, it's water.
Well, we do have the, and just FYI at this point, the Midland GIS proposal, that would be a fiscal year 15-16 project
Okay.
for budgeting. That's how much they would charge us to do stormwater GIS, $32,000. I don't know if there's any pieces we can break off of that, but
Well, we could do it piecemeal, but
yeah.
that'd be about the only other way of doing it.
Yeah.
If we can afford it, I think it would be better to do it all at once. We do have more than one drainage basin in town, so I mean, it could be done, but still, overall planning. You're probably gonna save money by doing it all at once rather than doing it piecemeal.
I'm sure. All right. That was it.
Okay. Any other under public works? Nothing? Other? Anybody else have any other? I will give a short report on, we had an intern that helped me some of the summer and did some work for the city also on the GIS. There are people that are looking for internships from the university. I suggested to Matt that we look at that for one of our future years, whether it's next year or the year after or whatever. Either hire an intern on a paid basis or possibly find one, although it's easier to find one on a paid basis than it is an unpaid basis. But there are things that we could do with our GIS that we could enter ourselves if we had somebody available to do that. We could have, Midland would have to set it up, but then the data entry would be on our end rather than their end. It might be a cheap way of getting some of this data in there and getting more things added to our GIS. It's just something to explore, but doing an internship with somebody from the university would probably be cheaper than trying to have our own people do it. And it's something that we certainly could explore. Depending upon how much it is, if it's very short term, if it's something that we're looking at a week or two, we could ask for an unpaid intern. But if it's something that we're looking at for, a couple of months for the summer, then it would probably be, we'd want to look at a paid position for it. So that was gonna consider that for the future, but, we did get some good use out of it. I wish we could have got the guy started a little quicker. There were some, false starts and stops with trying to get him going, but we have a better idea of what we need to do next time. So it was worthwhile to have him do some stuff. So. All right, any SBRIs?
I got one other, I did forgot to put on my activity report. APAC did come in and make the repairs on the streets. I don't know if, you've been out walking and
I drove up the other day.
but, they went through and jackhammer took the little air chisel and went through and cleaned all the spots out and put a, I can't remember what you call it, but, it's not, product's not supposed to track when it gets hot after it sets, so. They got all that, they went down Mitchell and checked all those streets over there, and then they sand sealed over there by Langdon's where there were some cracks from the roller and stuff, and I think they got everything taken care of. I'm gonna let them sit for a while and then check them all out and see how they're doing.
I actually did have one that maybe should have been on the street, but everything right. The grant pack, I understand the grant packet for the transportation alternative programs, which comes out every 3 years, is gonna be coming out, I think, tomorrow. Got to see a draft copy of it. It is one, it may be possible to do like sidewalks in front of the high school, and maybe even, depending upon who you talk to, get some curb and gutter and drop inlets and that sort of thing if it's well written. I just sort of wanted a nod from the council. There's a hard match. It would probably actually be like do engineering next budget year, and then maybe build the sidewalk next budget year, but probably the year after that.
So you're talking down on Jefferson Street?
Exactly, on Jefferson Street.
Sure, free is always good.
Well, it wouldn't be free, but free, the writing,
Relatively free is good.
relatively free. They do actually want a 20% cash match nowadays.
But that's personally free.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So there's no objection for me pursuing that.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Everybody vote to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.